I was so nervous. Like, the most nervous I'd ever been in my life. I didn't even know it was possible for a press conference to get so crowded. Suddenly, the flashes came at me from every direction. It was almost blinding, but the clicking didn't stop, as well as the sound of them calling my name. Hazel, look here! Here, over here, Hazel! Oh my gosh, why was this so chaotic? I started to panic, so I ran away. But I'd only taken a few steps before thump! Oh, these stupid high heels. Oh, hi. I didn't see you there. Well, let's be real, it's kind of hard to see anyone from this angle. Then from every direction, the reporters swarmed in like starving vultures, trying to take pictures of me. I was still confused and didn't know what to do when... Gentlemen, please give her some space. Are you okay? Robert, my adoptive dad, came to help me up. Excuse us, this is her first time attending such a crowded event. If it's all right with you, we'll help her answer your questions. Phew, I'd finally escaped the chaos. Or so I thought. As soon as he got into the house, Robert shouted, "Pamela!" which gave me the fright of my life. Didn't I tell you to teach Hazel some manners? How could you let her embarrass herself in front of the public like that? Pamela looked mortified and kept bowing down and apologizing, but Robert was still furious. If this happens again, you better pack your bags and get out of here. I felt so guilty. It was all because of me that she had been shouted at like that. But I'd done my best. Clearly it wasn't good enough, though. I tried to forget about it, but early the next morning, Pamela woke me up. She gave me a timetable and told me that from now on, I wouldn't need to go to school anymore, and that a tutor would come to teach me at home instead. What? Why all of a sudden? I asked Pamela in shock. It was because of yesterday's incident. The mayor has decided that you need to spend more time learning the necessary etiquette. Are you serious? He can't just keep me locked up here. No way. Hazel? Listen, you should be grateful that you got adopted into this house. Keep in mind of everything Mr. Cornelius has done for you and obediently do as I say. Do you understand what I mean? Looking into Pamela's eyes, I knew I had no choice but to agree. The day of the opening ceremony for the town hall had finally arrived, and I got to leave the house for the first time in a month. A whole month. Now was the moment of truth. In the eyes of the public, I had completely transformed into a proper, prestigious lady. When Robert started speaking at the ceremony, he announced a charity fundraiser for my orphanage, in the hopes that children like me would be given a chance to live a better life. Hearing this speech, I could barely hold back my tears. I was sitting next to my adoptive mom, Eleanor, so I turned to give her a big hug. Suddenly, all eyes were on me, and it seemed I'd finally done something right. I smiled up at Robert, and we both had tears in our eyes. Maybe Pamela was right. I really was lucky to have been adopted by such kind people. But as soon as we got home, things changed. My parents got all quiet and went off to their room, leaving me alone. Where was my praise? I'd done so well, hadn't I? Why weren't they happy? The following days, they still asked me to join them for their events, so I guess I must have done a good job. And while the media and public were around, they were all touchy-feely and affectionate towards me, constantly praising me. We must have looked like the perfect family. But the minute we got home, they'd ignore me, and if they wanted to tell me something, they'd get Pamela to speak to me. It was so flipping weird. I actually started to feel quite lonely and depressed. And even though I was living in the lap of luxury, I missed the orphanage. One day, Pamela's daughter, aka the only friend I had in this enormous mansion, Paisley, saw how upset I was and asked, "Hey, so why do you agree to move into this house? You're clearly unhappy here." Paisley got me. She was the same age as me, so we were on the same wavelength. I was nervous to tell her how I felt, but I knew she would understand, so I told her everything. The thing is, I actually have a sister. She's only 8, and she's called Amber. That's why I was missing the orphanage. She was still there. She's got congenital heart disease, so after our parents passed away, the orphanage couldn't afford her hospital bills. When the mayor's family decided to adopt me, I refused because I didn't want to leave Amber alone. But then Robert offered to pay for her medical treatments if I agreed, and well, the rest is history. You see, I can't just leave. If I did, what would happen to Amber? Oh, Hazel, I didn't know. I'm so sorry. But I need to be honest with you. One time I overheard Robert and Eleanor saying that you were the perfect girl to play this role. Huh? What role? That meant... Were they using me for something? It didn't make any sense, but those words kept lingering on my mind until... One time, Eleanor asked me to join her at a charity event, which she said was going to be broadcast on TV. Our job was to prepare homemade food and give it out to the homeless. I was so excited, but when I walked into our kitchen, I discovered the chefs had already cooked everything before the filming crew arrived. I was so disappointed and asked Eleanor about it. She just laughed and said, "Oh, no, sweetie, our job is just to look pretty and graceful in front of the camera." Then before distributing the food, she gave me a pair of gloves and said, "Don't touch any of their hands, okay? They are filthy." Oh my gosh, how could she say such things? Oh, then it hit me. I understood what Paisley had said now. The affection and kindness that the Corneliuses were showing me was actually just for show. All to win over the audience, aka the public, while this was their very true face. I had to do something about this. I couldn't let them keep on deceiving the public like this. So when Eleanor went to the bathroom and took off her gloves, I quickly grabbed them and threw them in the trash. When we went back out, a homeless man approached her to express his gratitude and asked for a handshake. Of course, she tried to refuse, but at that moment the camera turned to her, so she had no choice but to give in. And you know what? The man didn't just shake her hand. He even pulled Eleanor in for a big hug. I couldn't hold back my laughter at how flustered she looked. Served her right. Afterward, Eleanor grabbed my arm and dragged me to a quiet corner. Then she said, "It was you who did this, wasn't it?" I pretended to have no idea what she was talking about, and this just infuriated her even more. Then later that evening when we got home, Robert was already waiting and shouted at me, "What do you think you're playing at?" I was confused, but then Eleanor added, "Don't you ever mess with me like that again." Now listen closely. Don't you miss your little sis? Aren't you curious if she's doing okay or not? That's right. You better have behaved yourself from now on, young lady. I was so shaken by what they'd said. I didn't even want to leave my room. What if something happened to my sister? Then suddenly, Paisley climbed through my window into my room. As soon as I saw her, I burst into tears. "Paisley, please help me with this. I need you to go to my orphanage and check on Amber and see if she's okay." A few hours later, Paisley came back panting. "Your sister? She's not doing good." What? But hadn't she been receiving money for her monthly treatments? Paisley shook her head. "The nuns there said they hadn't received a penny since you left. Now Amber is barely surviving." Paisley's words broke my heart. Those two had been fooling me all this time, and now my sister's life was hanging on by a thread. I had to get to the bottom of this. I walked past Robert's office, and that's when I overheard someone talking. Curious, I peeked in and saw a group of middle-aged men sitting around a table. One of them spoke up. "Hey, Robert, the election day is coming. Is that little girl still doing a decent job?" "Oh, don't worry about her. She's just a silly little kid. She believes anything I tell her, especially about her sick sister," Robert smirked. How dare he speak about my sister like that? I had to do something. I couldn't let this vicious man keep on fooling everyone like he'd done to me. So I took out my phone and started filming. "Speaking of which, how much charity money have we got so far?" $100,000, Robert said, and the room was filled with praise. "Gentlemen, by the time of the closing party for the charity this weekend, we should have almost $500,000 for the election campaign. As soon as I win, your business will continue to be tax reduced for the next 4 years." I had to cover my mouth to stop myself from gasping. So this whole time, he'd been exploiting me and the orphanage for his corruption? Gosh, I was such an idiot to fall right into his trap. Suddenly my phone buzzed. "Who's there?" Robert shouted and rushed to the door. Oh no! Panicked, I ran, but not far enough before I tripped and the phone flew out of my hand. Robert and his men caught up with me, picked up my phone, and deleted all my evidence. They even took the phone away from me. He turned to me and said, "I've already warned you, have I not?" "You're a liar," I yelled. "You haven't paid a penny to my sister," Robert growled. "Who told you that?" But all he had for an answer was my silence and fuming look. Furious, he dragged me back to my room. "Maid, bring me the keys to her room." And then he locked me up inside. until the day of the closing party of the charity rolled around, where they'd be announcing the amount of money they'd collected. That day, all the staff were out of the mansion. Suddenly, I heard the door being unlocked. Panicked, I hid behind the closet. "Hazel, where are you?" Oh, it was just Paisley. She found a way to sneak me out of the mansion and told me to run straight back to the orphanage. But no, first I had to expose that sly old fox Robert. Luckily, when I got to the event, Robert was giving his speech. I immediately ran up to the stage, snatched the mic, and told everyone about his evil plan. But I was no match for him. Before I could finish, security was dragging me off the stage, and Robert had already taken control of the situation. "Ladies and gentlemen, I'm so sorry for my daughter's behavior. The reason why we decided to adopt her was that she's mentally ill. Since she came to our home, she has become better, but as you can see, there's been a bit of a relapse." What a snake! This jerk would stop at nothing to get what he wanted. Just then, the big screen on stage suddenly showed the video I'd taken, revealing all the schemes of Robert and his accomplices. Now he was well and truly exposed. I watched as he stammered. No, this can't be happening." Right at that moment, the police rushed in to arrest Robert and his accomplices in the stands. You might be wondering how we pulled that off. Well, as I was running through the hallway, I managed to send the video to Paisley. As soon as she received it, she came to find me and saw everything that had happened. So she secretly ran to her mom for help. Pamela then made a plan. While Paisley freed me from the mansion, Pamela set to work on projecting the video on the big screen. Genius, right? A month later, Robert and his accomplices were arrested for embezzlement. And, of course, he got locked up for a long, long time. Both him and Eleanor received such massive backlash from the public, to the point that she had to stay hidden away too. The charity money, luckily, was brought back to the orphanage, and part of it was used to take care of my sister Amber. She's doing much better now. Oh, and Paisley and I are still best of friends. Pamela has found a way better job. And as for me, I went back to stay at the orphanage until I'm old enough to move out. I'm better off being on my own with my sister than being adopted by some mess.
So, this is the Roomba Club. Why isn't the guy here? Was I wrong? No way, I did lots of digging. Oh, don't take this the wrong way. I'm not a stalker. I'm just doing my job. It's obvious that there's something fishy about this case. Want to know the details? Please like and subscribe. I'm Faith McKinnon, the only daughter of a private detective. That probably sounds cool, but my dad is actually really carefree. Maybe that's why he only took on enough trivial cases to make ends meet. I haven't always paid much attention to his business, though. I mainly focus on studying, so our future can be brighter.
What? What are you saying, sir? Yeah, I'm in. You can count on me. Faith, I just got a big job.
A customer had paid him handsomely to investigate this case. A girl named Selena Martinez just had an accident and fell into a coma. But there was no CCTV on the road, and the heavy rain erased all traces. The police couldn't find any evidence, so they concluded that it was a traffic accident. But Mr. and Mrs. Martinez didn't believe it and suspected her boyfriend, Oscar Davis, was involved. Thus, they had to rely on my detective dad.
Haha, looks like folks need my help after all. Me, McKinnon, can solve any case.
Conveniently, those two kids go to the same school as me, so Dad asked me to keep an eye on them. Okay, nothing complicated, so I agreed. That's why I'm here. I heard Oscar loved Roomba and never missed a class, but why hasn't he shown up today? I was looking around when a hand patted my shoulder.
What are you doing? Sorry, I didn't mean to scare you.
Oh my, am I dead? 'Cause I swear I'm seeing an angel. Look at his eyelashes framing those beautiful hazel eyes in that super touchable long dark hair.
Hey, you still with me? Are you here to join our Roomba squad, princess? If so, you're looking at the right person. I'm Zane, head of this club.
Yes, I'm Faith. I love Roomba. Well, joining this club will surely help me with my mission, won't it? But I knew absolutely nothing about this Roomba dance thingy. Gosh, how could they dance with those heels so freaking high? I tried to copy other students, but my legs were just not listening, causing me to stumble. And luckily, Zane caught me just in time.
Are you good? Let me show you some basics before you hurt yourself. Or someone else.
Then Zane took me aside, and we started to dance with his arms wrapped around my waist. With each twirl, I felt like he was pulling me closer and closer, and I couldn't stop blushing. Was Roomba supposed to always be like that? Then our eyes met. His gaze was so soft and dreamy and angry. Zane stopped in the middle, and his face darkened. Right at the door was Oscar. Zane immediately dragged him outside. I sneakily followed them to see they were quarreling at a corner.
Drop your act already. Let me see Selena, please. You have some nerve asking to meet my sister after what you did to her. How many times do I need to tell you that I had nothing to do with her accident? Keep lying all you want, but I'll find evidence. You'll soon have to pay for what you did.
Zane was Selena's brother? That meant we were on the same boat. The investigation could have been going much more smoothly if I'd known this earlier. I went straight to Zane, saying, Selena Martinez was your sister?
Yeah, why are you...
I'm helping to investigate her accident.
Oh, really?
Zane was surprisingly cooperative in helping me answer some questions for the investigation.
My parents just can't help but suspect Oscar had something to do with it. He's kinda obsessed with our Selena. She'd rejected him many times, but he wouldn't stop pining for her, and eventually she gave in. But that only kicked in his possessive behaviors. He bought gifts and controlled what she wore every day. He followed my sister everywhere, even to the restroom to make sure she's safe, and climbed to her window to check her sleep every night.
Jeez, that's crazy.
Selena was having too much and decided to end things with him for good. But after that, she was found unconscious in an accident. It can't be a coincidence. I'm sure Oscar's obsession has turned into rage.
Wow, it really was impossible to judge someone just on appearances. Oscar looked so nice, yet... To gather more information, I asked around about Oscar and Selena. Selena used to be kinda mean, but ever since she and Oscar became an item, she's like another person. Much kinder and nicer, I would say. Yeah, they were really sweet together. I was surprised to hear she broke up with him. Huh? Sweet? Are they talking about another Oscar? I even went to Oscar's neighbors and discovered that his mom was the head of the Medical and Pharmaceutical Association. All I heard were good things about him.
Oh, that sweet boy. He always runs right out to help me carry groceries. He even gave me his phone number to call him when I need help. Oscar is a real good kid. Every year on Halloween, he decorates a whole haunted house for the neighborhood kids and stays out there until every last trick-or-treater leaves with a sack full of candy.
Things are getting way confusing. It's like Zane and the others were describing two totally different people.
Why are you following me?
I looked up to see Oscar. I'm not. I tried to run, but he grabbed me.
Please don't lie to me. I know why you're here, and I want to cooperate. Because I too want this all to be over quickly. Only then can I see Selena again.
Okay, I should give him a fair chance and make my own judgments about this guy. And I'm also really curious to hear his side of the story.
I used to be picked on pretty often, until Selena started standing up for me. She was truly my knight in shining armor. And that's when I knew I'd fallen in love with her. And she actually liked me back. And that's when she came to do charity work with me for the first time, and we happened to meet in the Roomba Club and become partners. We were happy in love. Selena even bought me gifts and planned surprise dates. Things were good. Great, actually. But suddenly she broke up with me, then got into the accident. I just really want to see if she's okay.
This guy seemed very sincere. A bit silly, even. He couldn't be the one who could scheme such a hateful plan, could he? But why does nothing match what Zane told me earlier? One of them must be lying. But who? Things were becoming perplexing. But that evening, when I got home, my dad told me that he had found a dash cam from another car which filmed the moment Oscar's car hit Selena's.
Case closed. Who would have thought a $15,000 case like this could be solved so easily? I'm such a genius. With this pace, I'd be a millionaire before you knew it.
Huh? That's it? No, something didn't add up here. My gut was telling me that Oscar the simp couldn't be the cunning and ruthless mastermind behind all this. The next morning, I was startled by Dad's loud excitement.
I'm on a headline, baby!
Turns out the video had spread like wildfire on the news. But that's not all. Another part of the story was also revealed. Oscar, Dr. Davis's son, loved Selena Martinez but was rejected, so he threatened to tell his mom to cancel their new medicine's license. Selena still resisted him, so her family lost the medicine's permit and suffered great damage. Meanwhile, Oscar got so mad that he caused the accident. So there's some family conflict involved too, not just teenage love? Seeing loads of angry comments, I was so worried that I immediately ran to the Roomba Club to find Oscar. There, I found Zane grabbing Oscar's collar.
I always know it's you. How are you gonna deny it now?
Wait, stop! Upon seeing me, Zane loosened his fists.
You're gonna pay for this. I swear I didn't do it, Faith. I don't know where that video came from. Please help me.
I also felt things couldn't be that simple, so I came home to check the video again. Finally, I found something that was off. If the impact happened at that angle, Selena's left arm would have been injured, but it wasn't according to the hospital's record. Dad, I think the video of the accident was fabricated. We need to confirm Selena's condition before making any conclusion.
Well, this case is already closed. The Martinez family asked me to wrap it up as soon as the evidence was discovered.
Why such a hurry? They spent all this money but didn't want a thorough investigation? The next day, I decided to investigate myself. I disguised as a nurse to sneak into the hospital, but Selena's room was strictly guarded. I had to find another entrance. Huh? Is that Zane? Right then, he saw me and immediately dragged me into a corner, signaling me to keep silent.
Be careful, or they will see you.
What are you doing sneaking around?
I'm afraid my parents might be doing something sketchy.
Explain.
I've heard them talking with the press to keep posting those defaming articles about Oscar's family, and they even mentioned something about revenge.
So you followed them here?
Suddenly, I was forbidden from seeing Selena as the doctor said she needed absolute peace to heal, but it feels like my parents don't want me to talk to her. Come to think of it, it's also them who made me suspect Oscar from the beginning.
That's what I thought. But why should I believe you when you've been saying awful things about Oscar? Maybe you're working with them.
Last semester I studied abroad. That's when Selena and Oscar started dating. All the things I knew about them were told by my parents. Actually, believe me or not, I'm going to find out the truth with or without your help.
Seeing his determined attitude, my heart softened a little. If it's true that your parents were up to something bad, are you still willing to expose them?
If so, what they did is just wrong, and I need to know why.
Right at that moment, I got a call from Dad.
Well done, Faith. You were right. That video was fabricated.
I believe you, Zane. 3 days later, it was reported that Oscar's mom resigned due to the recent scandal. Then Dad showed up in an unusually neat suit.
You better go get ready, kiddo. The Martinezes invited us for dinner to celebrate solving the case. I think they might throw in a bonus on top of the initial amount.
My dad is quite the performer, isn't he? All right, time to solve this case. At the dinner, everyone seemed extremely happy, especially Mr. Martinez.
Thank you so much for giving us the closure we needed for our daughter's accident. No, I have to thank you for giving me such a big case. Now people will line up to have me solve their cases. Haha.
They kept toasting, laughing, and talking happily like two old friends. Then Mrs. Martinez went to get some more food for them. I turned to see Zane looking a bit sad.
I didn't expect Dr. Davis could stoop this low. She got what she deserved. How dare she say our medicine was of poor quality and rejected the license? She almost ruined our plan to make loads of money. What a wet blanket. Luckily, we got quick-witted to stage a fake accident to frame our boy.
Hearing that, Mrs. Martinez quickly ran to cover her husband's mouth, but couldn't make it in time.
Aha! So you admit everything. I recorded them all. This will be evidence to expose you in court. We admit nothing. Check your recording.
When I turned it on, it was all static. We couldn't hear anything.
Unfortunately for you, this is the family business room, equipped with signal jammers and anti-eavesdropping devices, so you have no evidence.
Mom, stop it! Right then, Oscar walked in, with Selena on a wheelchair.
Why are you here? You're supposed to be at the hospital resting. All thanks to my mom. She knows someone in the hospital and could help Selena get out. Or else, how long were you planning to keep her locked up?
It turns out Selena had woken up a week ago, but her parents kept it a secret. That's why Zane wasn't allowed to visit her out of fear that everything would come to light. Mom, that's not enough for you? You asked me to pursue Oscar at first to get close to his mom, but when the plan didn't work out, you then forced me to break up with him. But I've already fallen in love with Oscar for real. It broke my heart to do so. That night, I was driving in a totally lost mind and crashed into a tree. But who knows, my own cruel parents would use their daughter's accident as an excuse to frame Oscar and his family.
Oh, honey, you're saying this because you're not well yet.
No, we all know what you did. Just confess. Oscar and his mother are good people who don't deserve any of this. I love you guys. That's why I have to make it right.
You ungrateful little traitor! Everything we do for you! But it doesn't matter. A court needs concrete evidence, not just the words of a girl. I'm really disappointed in you guys. I hope that you would step up and take accountability. You could have gotten a reduced sentence, but I guess now we need to turn in the real evidence.
I held up the confession video of the person hired by Selena's parents to fake the dash cam. At this point, Mrs. Martinez fell to her knees, sobbing dramatically.
I paid you to find the evidence against the Davises, not against us! Sorry, but we refuse to accept your money. We don't work for you. We work for justice.
Soon enough, Mr. and Mrs. Martinez saw their day in court for their schemes, and the Davises' name was cleared. After the sentencing, Oscar's mom approached me and my dad.
Thank you so much for fighting for the truth. You've saved our family's reputation. Our society needs more people who work and live for righteousness like you. I owe it all to Faith. Things would not have turned out the way they did without her master plan. From the fake resignation to Selena's hospital escape, and even arranging a play to expose the Martinezes. It's true that the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, isn't it? She's about to surpass my skill.
I'll let you keep this for a few more years. It's true that I hadn't been interested in my father's job before, but this case made me realize my passion for solving crimes. So, we'll see. Now all the crazy things finally settled, Oscar and Selena are back together after everything they've gone through. They deserve to be happy with each other. Is this just me, or is their story really similar to Romeo and Juliet? Except in the end, they're happy together. Suddenly, Zane walked up behind me.
Wanna dance?
Are you sure? You're the one who said I was a danger to myself and others.
Then it's a risk I'm willing to take.
My most precious timekeeper. There's a saying that goes, when you fully trust someone without any doubt, you'll either have a person for life or a lesson for life. You bet I learned a valuable lesson because that quote manifested itself into my life. It was the summer of 2000, before our beloved smartphones and social media even existed. Elio, Tara, and I were exploring the glorious Barcelona. Spain was our first stop on our trip across Europe to celebrate high school graduation. That's 18-year-old me. I'd always wanted a partner who I could trust with my life and stick with me through thick and thin. But the boys I dated were too childish or selfish to be considered trustworthy, except for my sweet Elio. He's always so attentive and cared for me greatly, but somehow he couldn't ease my anxiety. At the beginning, I wanted us to have a couples trip, but then I decided to have my only friend Tara join us, just to be safe. My treat, of course. Only Tara stayed friends with me after many other greedy leeches tried latching onto me for my family's wealth. Sure, I got you, girl. I was thinking you might just chicken out without me. Ha ha ha. She knew me too well. And so our journey began. Why Barcelona, you asked? Because I wanted to connect to my Spanish roots since my grandparents met, then got married over there. Hopefully, Elio and I would be just like them. After weeks of sampling Michelin restaurants, 5-star hotels, and high-end nightclubs, we visited Las Ramblas Market, and so did dozens of other tourists. Ugh, are they not seeing me intentionally? I can't suffocate between sweaty people, so I let us out of the crowd. Here comes fresh air. But hey, where are Tara and Elio? I reached for my phone and suddenly remembered that Elio had my handbag. My whole life's in there. My phone, my money, my passport. Ah, police! Officer, please help! I'm lost and I don't have my documents on me. But why did they keep dashing their gaze to me, then to each other? Oh, they understood me. Then they signaled me to follow them, probably to the police station. What? This is a hospital. They think I'm nuts? No, this isn't happening. What do I do? Excuse me, you need help? That snapped me out of the panic attack. I turned around and saw 2 male supermodels. My. Hang on, time and place, Michaela. Turns out the guy who just approached me was Guzman. He's quite fluent in English and very friendly. Meanwhile, the cold one was Manu, who seemed to be watching me like an alien. I told him about my situation, then they led me to the U.S. Embassy. Luckily, they stayed to help me talk to the embassy staff, who I totally believe is the sloth from Zootopia in disguise. One eternity later, they said they'd help me find Elio and Tara, but it'd take several weeks. Ugh, that's it? What about me? I already told them I had neither money nor passport, right? Where do I stay? How would I survive? Right then, Guzman offered me to stay at his place and work at his family's restaurant in the meantime. Huh? Isn't that too generous to a stranger like me? These two beautiful and helpful people could be baits, but without any other option, I had to cautiously follow them. This was the first time I ever had to be on my own in a strange place, and the fact that their home was an old, slightly shabby restaurant didn't help. Mr. and Mrs. Rios, the owners, aka their parents, welcomed and fed me. I wasn't sure if the food was poisoned or not, but my rumbling tummy convinced me to blindly trust them for now. Then they showed me my room. That's nice. Perhaps a bit too nice, especially to a complete stranger. Am I gonna get kidnapped like when I was 5? If it wasn't for my bodyguard, I'd be living in a human trafficker's wonderland now. This room's only secured by a simple slide bolt, so I used all my strength to barricade the door with this wardrobe. Whew, that'll do it. I couldn't sleep much and got up pretty early, but it took me a while to remove my barricade and get downstairs. Scratch that, or I might give myself scoliosis. At breakfast, they asked me how I was doing. I could only mutter a few Spanish phrases from school and prayed for my Spanish ancestors' assistance, while their replies were too fast for me to comprehend. Besides, it sounded like they used a different language to communicate. Sensing my confusion, Guzman explained that people in Barcelona speak Catalan in their everyday life, not standard Spanish. Oh, right. Suddenly, I felt so alone among them. Unsurprisingly, when they opened, I was assigned dishwashing duty and organizing the storage room because I didn't speak any Catalan. Back home, I had maids and servants pick up after my every step. Literally. So working here was torture. Not to mention the hot weather here was draining me. My slow pace earned me Manu's glare, his annoyed frown, or sometimes a few words that I'm sure weren't very nice. Fortunately, Guzman was there to be the usual comic relief. I'm sorry, I don't know what I'm doing.
De nada. You're doing your best, girl. Don't worry about that grumpy cat.
Still, Manu was just one of my many problems. Everything seemed confusing, from how they tell the time to the metric system. Not to mention, mealtimes in Spain were always somehow 2 hours late. I swear, I almost blacked out from hypoglycemia the first few days. But today, Manu suddenly demanded I take a table's order. Maybe they sensed my nervousness, so they pointed at the dish they wanted from the menu. Gazpacho and pesto pasta? Got it! Call me Bear Grylls. Improvise, adapt, overcome is the way to go. A while later, I was just vibing in the kitchen when I heard a commotion outside. I ran out and realized the customer from before was coughing violently. What's happening to him? I saw Mr. Rios ran up to his date, asked a few questions, and checked his half-eaten pasta. His face suddenly turned pale, and he immediately called an ambulance.
Michaela, did you, by any chance, not hear that he said he had a nut allergy?
Perhaps. He told me his food should be nut-free because he's allergic, but that went over my head. Thank God the ambulance arrived on time, so he was okay. Still, Mr. Rios had to apologize, and that meal was on the house. And me? Manu gave me a piece of his mind. Why is he angry at me? He knew I didn't speak their language, yet he made me take their order. I wish I spoke Catalan so I could fire him instantly. Guess I'll have to fire myself. Adios. I was walking around aimlessly when Manu and Guzman found me. They said they were looking for me everywhere. Manu's awkward expression was very unlike his usual cool appearance.
Sorry, you not know Catalan, I not know English. We, misunderstand. Go home, please, okay?
Now I knew this guy seemed cold only because he didn't speak English. Seeing their sincerity, I followed them back. But will I ever return home? What if I'll never see my friends and family again for the rest of my life? The next day, I went to the U.S. Embassy and received shocking news. Elio and Tara not only had already left Barcelona, but Spain. A week ago. Why didn't you inform me immediately when you found them?
Oh, we were gonna do that tomorrow. They're gone anyway.
What's so funny about that, you moron? Never mind. Burning this place down wouldn't solve anything. My world had already collapsed. What did I do to deserve this? Why am I surrounded by cruel people? My paranoia was proven right once again. I can't trust anyone but myself. I relayed the news to the Rios and asked if I could live with them longer. They reassured I could stay as long as I needed.
They can't reach you now either. They couldn't have abandoned you. Maybe they were looking for a way to help you. Chin up, Queen. Your tiara's gonna fall.
This family's hospitality and positive energy are unmatched. Still, it saddened me that I couldn't return home just yet. A few days later, surprisingly, Manu offered me Catalan lessons. In return, I shall teach him English. He was a natural. I, on the other hand, felt like I was born with a wrong tongue. Whenever Manu got mad at me for making mistakes, I'd bombard him with questions as a distraction. Why do you use Celsius and not Fahrenheit here? Why Catalan and not Spanish? And what's up with siesta? I swear, it's like the entire city suddenly drops dead in the middle of the day. At first glance, my questions seemed to annoy Manu, but he actually answered all of them. I could see his iciness slowly melting. Time passed and my Catalan improved. Today, I even chatted with Manu's parents while working. They said this restaurant was established a few generations ago, and many troubled couples stopped by this place.
But love always prevails in the end because our food heals them all. Might sound romantic, but actually, that's because great-granddad liked being a love guru, while great-grandma wished to be a couples therapist.
Since then, thanks to Manu and my coworkers, my life got a lot easier. Every time I messed up something, they'd offer help or guidance. One time, I got lost while delivering food and was gone for a long time. But when I got back, they didn't criticize me. One of them even joked that I didn't know the area because I rarely went out. So Guzman suggested we three go to the beach after work. Some vitamin C sounds like what I need. Huh? But only Manu was waiting for me after our shift.
It's just us. Guzman's with his hot date.
Guzman, you cheeky little schemer. Still, this isn't a date, right? Just two friends getting to know each other. I initially thought we're going to walk along La Rambla and arrive at Barceloneta Beach, but Manu took me to Playa Badalona, which was a bit further away, but pretty much empty and splendid. Strange how TripAdvisor didn't mention this place. Manu brought out a bottle of cava, a Barcelona specialty. Wow, isn't it expensive? Are you sure I can have this?
You worked hard and deserve to play hard.
Aw, so thoughtful. He might make me blush. Then we toasted to my chaotic arrival here. That's the stuff. With Manu, I got to see an ordinary side of Barcelona. Not often do I get the chance to be somewhere this beautiful. I should be more adapting. Besides, if I wasn't here, I'd never get to observe this magnificent monument up close.
Leave room for Jesus!
Jesus! I mean, Guzman? He had a terrible date and came to vent. What were you thinking, Michaela? You have a boyfriend, remember? Eventually, my life here got more enjoyable. I kinda adopted the mañana mentality, so taking it slow became my motto. I now realized whoever invented siesta was a genius. People would sometimes burst into songs, as others would either sing along or dance to the music. Spaniards seem to value quality of life more than those in the States. Speaking of which, I still got homesick from time to time, and Manu's the only one who seemed to notice.
You can talk to me anytime. Rest assured, we're all happy to have you here.
Okay, I might have a teeny tiny crush on him. No, focus, Michaela. Think about Elio, your boyfriend. I wonder how he and Tara were doing. Speak of the devil, I saw them again that evening on a TV show about tourism in Marseille, France, and they shamelessly claimed to be a couple. I couldn't believe it. However, without my passport, I couldn't get to them. So I asked Manu and Guzman to go there, and they agreed.
Girl, don't worry. I'm more than happy to bring those traitors to justice on your behalf.
No matter what had happened, I'll be eternally grateful to them. My guardian angels. They returned after a couple of days with my stuff, but Manu said those two showed no remorse as they put all the blame on me.
The moment I saw them, I knew those two were backpacking. Trust me, honey, they're penniless.
But I still had questions, so I immediately called Tara and chaos ensued. Tara said my paranoia and stubbornness tired her out, as they did Elio. We kept it to ourselves all this time because we didn't want to hurt you. But actually, it felt like a relief to not have you around. Did you know that we bonded over shared trauma? That's you. Good. I hope you two are happy asking strangers for money together. Tara, are you talking to Michaela? Mickey, wait! I can't listen to another word. There wasn't even any tears left in me. Manu sat down next to me.
Hey, you got rid of those traitors. Why the long face?
I'm fine. Don't mind me. I just lost the only two people I trust outside my family. No biggie.
Come now, it's not that bad. Give up!
What the?
Oh, oops, my bad. Don't give up. I mean, cheer up.
Don't laugh. I mean it.
Since you got here, you've become a lot more independent, haven't you? You're quite a strong, resilient girl.
He's right, and not just because I like him. I'd been so caught up in everything that I didn't realize I'd been entrusting my life to him, who I barely knew. I'd been relying so much on him and his family. Maybe it's not so bad knowing good people still exist. And this guy, he makes it so hard for me to leave this place. At the crack of dawn, I woke up to the deafening sound of helicopters? That's my family crest. My parents must have sent those choppers. A swole guy in black came up to me and said my dad wanted me home because I'd gone AWOL for far too long. Then he just grabbed me and we flew straight back to America. I begged him to turn around so I could say goodbye to Manu, Guzman, Mr. and Mrs. Rios, my saviors, but my pleading was completely ignored. I was finally home and went to college, but as a different person. I was determined to socialize more and befriend new people. And no, it's not just talks. I actually moved into the dorm to be surrounded by my peers. It's been a long time coming, but I learned to open up and keep my trust issue in check. I shouldn't pass up on companionship out of irrational fears. However, I couldn't take my mind off Manu. We didn't even properly say goodbye and had no way to contact one another. So I went back to Barcelona to look for him. But when I got there, his family said he'd just gone to the airport. Turns out, he went looking for me too. I immediately got in a taxi and headed to the airport. As soon as I arrived, I saw the earliest flight to America had already taken off. That's how my time abroad wrapped up.
Michaela, mi amor, where are you?
Yes, my love.
That photo album again. I'm right here, eyes on me.
Well, I couldn't figure out why you didn't board that flight.
I just had a feeling that I'd see you again if I turned around. Call it telepathy.
Jaden was taken aback for a second, then calmly said, "You're right. Sorry. I'll back off. Being the third wheel all this time hasn't gotten me any info on Mike's dad anyway. He really was laying low. And maybe Mike didn't even know anything about what his father was doing. The FBI might need to find another way to approach this investigation." Little did Jaden know, Jasmine had become an unexpected factor in his investigation plan. After that time, Jasmine and Mike had private dates, just the two of them, but they left Jasmine feeling more and more distant from him. Why does this wig have to be so long? And these freaking shoes! Why do girls want to torture themselves with these things? Jasmine thought about the last time she was with Jaden, how she could just remove the stupid heels and enjoy being carried by him. But of course, that could never happen in front of Mike. Jaden has kept his promise and leaves us two alone, but why do I feel like something is missing? You look really beautiful today. That necklace is divine. Yeah, I got it from my dad's antique cabinet this morning. Guess it once belonged to some ancient Egyptian queen. My dad has a bunch of these. Oh, really? How come? Well, he developed a very deep passion for collecting antiques and has filled our whole house with all kinds of stuff. Interesting. Just then, Mike knew exactly what to do with rich and naive Jasmine while she's still totally oblivious to it. That night, Jasmine struggled to fall asleep. She wondered how Jaden could just disappear into thin air like that. Fine, don't let me see you again. I'll make you watch me eat 10 buckets of fried chicken and then force you to run 10 laps while carrying me. Jasmine didn't realize, however, that behind her inexplicable frustration toward Jaden, she actually missed him. The next day, as soon as Jasmine arrived at school, Mike approached her urgently. Have I mentioned that I'm turning 16 this weekend? No, you haven't. Any special plans for your big day then? Yes, actually. That's why I came to find you. I wanted to make sure you had enough time to put together the most stunning outfit, 'cause I'd like you to meet my father there. You must make a good impression on him. Wow. I'm gonna need to think about it, okay? After that, Jasmine looked everywhere for Jaden, but couldn't find any trace of him. Jaden, where on earth have you been? That evening, while Jaden was discussing the current situation with his partner, he was surprised to see Jasmine's figure at the door. How did she find her way here? How dare you go AWOL for the past few days? Do you realize how many excuses I needed to give the student supervisor just to get your address? Then Jasmine began to tell Jaden about her latest date with Mike, how she felt that Mike was not the right match for her, and that Mike wanted to introduce her to his father at Mike's birthday party. I think I need to break things off before any family gets involved. However, after the FBI team hit a dead end because they couldn't get any intel, Jaden realized this party was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for them to catch the thief. Wait, you can't give up so soon. You were so determined to win Mike over before. Don't just dump him over cold feet. At least wait until after the party to make your decision.
Yeah, you're right. I'll go to the party.
After that, Jasmine left. She was trying not to feel the sadness building inside her, but the night that she and Jaden nearly kissed played on repeat in her head. Would things be different if I just confessed my feelings to Jaden? I should let him know how I feel about him. So Jasmine headed back to Jaden's place. When she was almost there, she saw him seeing someone off. Huh? There was another person at his house? Why didn't I see him just then? Jasmine quickly hid behind a wall, out of sight. That party is surely our golden ticket, and we thought you going undercover as Jaden and giving that dude a makeover was all in vain. He's a she, and her name is Jasmine. Oh, did someone catch feelings? Don't forget that you're an FBI agent, James. Jaden, that is. Jasmine couldn't believe what she just heard and saw. When the man left, she stormed right over to Jaden. When were you going to tell me about your double life, James? I wish I could tell you everything, but I really can't. But I won't deny what you did here. I'm an FBI agent, and I've been undercover as a high school student to follow Mike. Jasmine, please listen to me. I'll tell you everything when the right time comes. So I was just a tool that you used to get closer to Mike. And since that didn't work, you're done with me? No, that's not. And why Mike? What do you need from him? I can't tell you anything else right now. But please just be careful around him, okay? He's not as nice as he tries to seem. I'm going to send FBI agents to keep an eye on you at the party. No, you will not. You won't do anything because you and the FBI are going to leave me alone. Jasmine, please. As much as it hurt to look at him again, Jasmine turned back around. My friends call me Gucci, but I guess you wouldn't know. While Jasmine was still mad at Jaden, she couldn't help questioning why the FBI had to send people to follow Mike. Suddenly, she remembered the overheard conversation. That party was surely our golden ticket, and we thought you going undercover as Jaden and giving that dude a makeover was all in vain. Maybe I could find the answer at Mike's birthday party. In the following days, Jaden relentlessly tried in every way to make amends with Jasmine. He messaged her on every social platform, from Facebook to Instagram to Twitter, and she blocked him on each one. He flew paper planes that read, "I'm sorry," into Jasmine's room, but she just stared coldly at him through the window while tearing the planes all up and throwing them in the trash. One morning, Jasmine woke up and even found a dove delivering Jaden's apology letter, but she completely ignored it still. Mike's birthday party finally came. Why do I feel so unsettled? Maybe it was because of Gary's hamburger this afternoon? Meanwhile, Mike was also lost in his own thoughts. Will Dad be able to get on with the plan? I wonder what disguise he'll show up in. Right then, Tiffany approached them. Mike, I have a present for you. Mike opened the envelope to find pictures of Jasmine from when she was a tomboy. I just wanted to remind you of the person you're really dating. I don't care about who she was before, because I love who she is now. My amazing girlfriend. Jasmine felt partly appreciative of Mike's feelings for her, but she was also exhausted from the pressure of trying to be someone she wasn't. If only you knew that this isn't the real me. As they walked away, Mike leaned in close and whispered in Jasmine's ear, "Let's go meet my dad, privately." Jasmine followed Mike to the rooftop, but she saw nobody when they got there. Where is he? Just be patient. He always shows up on time. At that moment, a kind-looking old man appeared. Jasmine looked around in confusion, wondering where he had come from. Before she could introduce herself, he started to speak. "So you must be the lovely Jasmine. Mike has told me so much about you. I heard your father is a famous collector of antiquities." Yes. You know my dad? I know he has something that's truly coveted. Jasmine had no idea what he was talking about. She turned to Mike and saw him mouthing, "It's you. Come here, girl. I have a gift for you. A diamond ring that's perfect for your delicate hands." Jasmine hesitated, but somehow she found herself slowly reaching out her hand. Just before her hand could reach his, there was a rustling sound. Rat! Suddenly, there was a loud explosion and smoke filled the air. Jasmine fell to the ground, unconscious. Jaden rushed in and saw Mike's father disappear into the smoke as they fled. His head told him to chase them, but seeing Jasmine lying on the ground, he immediately ran to Jasmine and carried her out of there. Jasmine woke up and saw her dad and 3 brothers anxiously standing around. Through their accounts, she knew that an anonymous message had been sent to her father last night. demanding he hand over a precious necklace in exchange for Jasmine. The police confirmed that the sender of that threatening message is a career thief. But I wonder how he knew our family had that necklace. Jasmine recalled wearing that necklace to see Mike and revealing to him that her dad was an antique collector. Could that very thief be... Remember, he's been doing this for a long time. They call him the Phantom Thief. Surely he has a talent for sniffing out valuable items and evading the police. Unfortunately, it's the same this time. Actually, that young police officer could have caught him, but he chose to save your sister. Our family owes him big time.
Is that young police officer Jaden? Later, Jaden came to visit Jasmine at the hospital. Can you tell me the truth now? Is the FBI chasing a career criminal who is none other than Mike's dad?
You're right, because he works in mysterious ways. I had to approach him through his son, Mike.
So why didn't you arrest him when you had the chance? Weren't you just waiting for that moment?
Because you were in danger. At that moment, I could only think about getting to you.
All right, I'll give you that one. Can you tell me what you found out? Maybe I can help.
Then Jaden told Jasmine that through spying on Mike, he discovered that Mike was his father's informant. Mike would scour rich girls, then point out the targets to his father who'd steal their valuables. That's why Mike had targeted Tiffany before, but as soon as he learned she was a fake rich girl and Jasmine was the real deal, he switched his focus to Jasmine. I am so sorry I kept the truth from you for so long. I really care about you, and I was trying to keep you from getting hurt, and you did anyway. I'm sorry. I hope you can forgive me.
You did save my life after all. I think we can call it square. So, what's our next move then?
I really don't know.
I might have an idea.
Elsewhere, Mike and his dad were scheming. I didn't expect that sissy Jaden to be in the FBI. Don't worry, I know how to deal with him.
The next day, reports of an antique auction flooded the news.
A once-in-a-lifetime exhibition, all from one man's private collection, will be auctioned to the highest bidder. The collection includes antiquities from all over the world, including a necklace said to belong to Cleopatra. Its estimated value is over $100 billion.
The streets were also plastered with billboards and banners about that auction.
In the evening of the auction, all VIPs of the upper class gathered in the hotel's main lobby to prepare for the big event. In addition, hundreds of security guards and police officers were hired to guard the auction jewelry 24/7. Before the start of the auction, Jasmine's dad gave a welcome speech to all the guests. Ladies and gentlemen, I am honored to welcome you all to today's event. As you know, I collect antiques as a hobby, so to share some of the joy this collection has brought me, the profits from today's auction will be donated to the orphanage. Sir, is it true that Cleopatra's necklace will also be auctioned today? That's right. However, it's not here. It's currently being kept in a very secure place that even a mosquito couldn't get through, and will be presented during the final round. Aren't you afraid that the Phantom Thief, Master of Disguise, will steal it? Well, he can certainly try me. The whole crowd burst into laughter. Without knowing, from a corner, an elegant lady was watching them all with a smirk on her face. At 9 o'clock sharp, while the sounds of the auction echoed through the hotel's halls, someone in a black shirt and wearing a backpack appeared at the door, trying to put a key in the lock. Freeze! Hands over your head! Busted, you thief! I'm not...
In the lobby, chaos reigned after it became known that the Phantom Thief had approached the treasure.
Jasmine was extremely nervous too. Before long, a police officer went onto the stage. Please don't worry, the thief was apprehended by the police while trying to open the door. The auction will continue as scheduled. Everyone felt relieved, and the room erupted into applause. At that moment, the elegant yet mysterious lady walked toward the elevator quietly, heading to the penthouse. She then swiftly snuck into the room and retrieved the necklace with ease. Those stupid cops must be bringing that fool down to the station right now. She then put the box into her bag and left the room. Suddenly, an old janitor bumped into her. I'm terribly sorry, miss. The elegant lady grumbled, then used the emergency exit to rush up to the rooftop. On the roof, a helicopter was already waiting, with Mike inside. Mike's dad quickly gave him the necklace. Just when the helicopter took off, policemen came rushing to catch him. We finally got you weasel! Ha ha! I've still got the necklace. I win again, you fools. Oh, you mean this necklace? What? How could you? It turned out that Jaden had swapped the box when they bumped into each other in the hall. Upon this admission, in the helicopter, Mike eagerly opened the box, which turned out to be just a jumping jack toy. No! After the police took Mike's dad away, Jasmine and her dad rushed to Jaden. "Thank you so much for saving my daughter and still catching the thief."
Thank you for all your help. We couldn't have caught him if you didn't fabricate this event.
This whole thing was Jasmine's idea, and the event itself was fake. All the antiques auctioned tonight were real, and those proceeds will still go to charity.
We did it.
You're right. We did it. Whatever happened with the other thief who got caught earlier? Oh, he was hired to distract the FBI, but we knew from the start he wasn't our thief. Luckily, the arrest announcement was just the thing we needed to get Mike's dad to make his move and to make him think he was going to get away with it. Now I just need to know how you switched those boxes so smoothly. Are you a magician too? Nope, I'm just me.
The next day, Jaden finally had some time alone with Jasmine,
And it was finally time to tell her the rest of everything. It might not be my place to say, but I understand how you've been feeling. Trying to be someone? Heck, it's my job. But it's not your job to change to make other people like you. The right people are the ones who love you for who you really are. People like, me.
Jasmine was touched. She had so many things she wanted to say, but she was simply speechless. She turned to Jaden,
And upon seeing just his site profile, she blushed.
I...
Are you okay? Jasmine was going to respond, but she hiccuped again.
I think I know what to do.
Hi there, I'm Maxine Coleman. I'm the only daughter of two world-famous rocket scientists. Since I was little, I was brought along each time they made a television appearance, and my plus one was always my best friend, Gail.
What's your secret to such success? Well, we've both loved science since we were kids and decided to devote our lives to it. And family is our biggest motivation. It's not rocket science.
Whoa, your parents are so cool! On our way home, Dad asked me,
So, what's your dream, sweetie?
while I was scratching my head for an answer, Gail already said, I want to be a talk show host, just like that lady tonight.
That's great. You can definitely do it. Don't worry, Maxine. You'll soon know yours.
However, both Gail and I had problems learning. While Gail struggled to say a proper sentence, reading and writing gave me the hardest time. Naturally, we both hated school. My parents took me to the doctor, and I was diagnosed with dyslexia. He also said I'd have much difficulty in school and wouldn't achieve high academic results. I was quite upset to hear that, but my pop-pop, who was a high school teacher, wasn't pleased with that remark.
Nonsense. Maxine's very bright. Dyslexic or not, she'll succeed with the right method.
Since then, Pop-Pop began helping me and Gail study. Each time we finished a book, he'd give us little rewards. He also introduced us to sports, and even brought us to cool places like museums, galleries, and aquariums. From the moment I stepped foot in the aquarium, I knew this place is right up my alley because dolphins! Look, it's following me! I immediately told my parents the good news that evening. I found my passion. I'll become a marine biologist when I grow up. Years went by, and school wasn't scary to us anymore. Thanks to my pop-pop, I'm now at the top of my class and excel at biology. Dyslexia didn't have much effect on me. Meanwhile, Gail got rid of her stutter and became much more confident. We're like Superman and Batman, always side by side, working towards our own dream.
Professor Coleman, please tell us more about your latest research on marine life.
This is my life's work, which has been under development for the last decade. We both got into an elite high school, which would be a good jumping pad for our future. But unlike in middle school where I could learn at my own pace, I had to bend over backwards to have a good GPA, since the curriculum here is so intense. Unfortunately, dyslexia returned due to stress, making things even harder for me. In class, I had to look up the dictionary every 5 minutes, which slowed me down. One time, I stayed in class during recess to correct all the D's and B's that I'd mixed up in my essay. That alone got me called nerd. On the contrary, the pretty, extroverted Gail already became the face of the students' council, and she still tried her best to help me. That's right, this is just a minor setback. But that's not all. Yesterday, my chemistry teacher asked me to read the lab safety rules. Don't taste or sniff. You should be wafting the spell.
What?
I mean, smell. Sorry.
We're in chemistry class, not Potions 101, Professor Snape.
That's how Snape became my nickname, all because of that Robbie guy. Everyone loved his shenanigans, and he got away with everything because he's a rising track star. But really, he's the villain in my story. Lately, Gail and I had less time to chat because she's so busy, hanging out with Robbie. They met when Gail interviewed him for the school paper. Worse still, she often defended him, saying I'd like him once I got to know the guy. Ugh, no thanks. Besides, it seems that Gail's making achievements towards her dream. Meanwhile, I could barely handle studying and getting along with my classmates. Then came a time when every student who wished for a head start into a prestigious university needed to see the college counselor, Mrs. Morales. She said that my grades were pretty good, but I'd also need a good personal statement. It's supposed to capture the essence of who I am and show that I'm ready to commit myself to my future. Simple enough, right? But when it comes to actually writing, why is it so hard? Am I doubting my own plan? Can I really be a marine biologist? At dinner, I tried to bring this up to my parents, but it seemed they're already thinking I'm a marine bio student. Guess there's no turning back now. I called Gail to the aquarium to help me clear my thoughts. She was late, so I went to catch up with my dolphin friends. They actually calmed me down. Suddenly, a screeching voice took me out. You're dyslexic because you speak dolphins language? Should we find Dolphinese books for you? I turned around to see Gail and an entourage of her new friends and that buffoon. They started giggling. No word in the English language could describe how mad and humiliated I was. Did you really need to bring them here just to embarrass me? I walked away, but accidentally headed to a glass tunnel. It felt like I was fully submerged underwater. The horrible memory of the time I fell through ice into the deep, dark, frozen cold water came rushing back. I immediately dashed outside. Max, wait! I turned around to see Gail running after me. Watch out! A car's coming! I quickly pushed her away. The car didn't hit her, but she's injured. We brought her to the hospital ASAP. But when she came to, Gail couldn't speak. Her doctor said her vocal cord was temporarily paralyzed due to neck and chest trauma. That meant Gail could no longer present the school sports day. I was overcome with guilt. Gail told me,
I'll be all right. Sorry about earlier. I thought bringing our classmates would cheer you up.
She even said that I should keep chasing my dream and not let anything hold me back. I was so touched, but somehow, her words made me feel so pressured. I'll even work harder from now on. After that day, Robbie kept following me around trying to apologize. I avoided him like the plague. One day, I even skipped English, and when I got back, my classmates were buzzing about some substitute teacher named Mr. Coleman. They seemed so excited, since he didn't make them do any work and only told them fun anecdotes. Huh? That name rings a bell. And later my suspicion was confirmed when I met with my grandpa's angry and disappointed look after school. I obviously went home to a raging storm, but it didn't matter. I used this chance to spill my guts about how exhausting school was, how annoying it was to be picked on by an absolute moron all the time while my bestie wasn't by my side. Strangely, Grandpa listened attentively, then simply said he'd handle it. A few days later, he revealed that his way of handling it was making me that dimwit's tutor. Worst idea ever! Even though Pop Pop guaranteed that clown would work with me, I still wanted to kiss that jock with an uppercut. I ranted to Gail thinking she'd help me out of this. Unexpectedly, Gail also told me to give him a chance. Then, I might see his good side too? Right at that moment, the idiot appeared with a Nintendo Switch. How immature! That's my cue to leave. After the first lesson, I realized any regular teaching method could never hold this dummy's attention. But I can't just give up. Pop Pop taught me that there's no bad students. Fine, I'll find the right way to make him study. So, I showed him YouTube videos on biology to keep him focused, taught him the periodic table song, and talked about world history in his language. In 1914, after the Austrian Archduke was unalieved, Austria-Hungary declared war on Serbia, and Russia was like, say less, we got you, bro. Then Germany wanted to be the main character and waged war when literally nobody asked. So, you're saying World War I started mostly because the German Empire was pressed about being mid? Yes, brother. After some time, Robbie's grades went from D and F to C and B, while I no longer had to cram like before, since preparing lessons for him helped me remember everything naturally. Studying suddenly wasn't so hard anymore. And maybe Gail was right. This guy wasn't that terrible after all. One afternoon, Robbie shared some good news. Hey, my track meet went so well. Thanks for helping me with my grades, or else I would have been disqualified. Let's celebrate! Congrats! Can't celebrate without Gail. I heard she just got back from the hospital. Let's come to her place and get nuts. Moderately, though. Robbie passionately talked about his great achievement, while I told Gail that we're getting along now, but Gail seemed unenthusiastic. Then she coldly asked us to leave. We were both so confused. I asked Gail's mom and found out that most of her injuries had healed, except for her vocal cord. She's undergoing treatment, but her doctor was unsure how long it would take for her to talk again. Poor girl. Suddenly, Gail rushed out to put a piece of paper in my hand, then ran away. On my way home, I read the note. It's all your fault. If you didn't run, none of this would have happened. I'd rather get hit by a car. It would have only given me a broken arm. It's you who killed my dream. That's Gail's true feelings? Her words cut deep. When Gail returned to class, she didn't talk to anyone, and of course avoided me and Robbie. One time during recess, Mrs. Morales came to me and complimented my personal statement. She even said that if I kept up my GPA, I should have it all in my bag. That means my essay didn't seem as pretentious as I thought, right? Robbie was so happy for me, but I saw Gail's glare out of the corner of my eye and immediately signaled for Robbie to keep it down. At lunchtime, he asked if I was upset because of Gail. Not really. She'll perk up when she gets better. So, why the long face? Did Mrs. Morales say you have a bright future ahead of you? I'm not sure anymore. I made myself out to look like someone fully committed to marine biology in my essay, but deep down, it felt like I was lying. I can't even get close to water after falling through the ice that one time. I suddenly felt my throat closing and my eyes watering. I instinctively stood up and left without saying another word. I wanted to talk to my mother about this as soon as I got home, but I arrived in the middle of her conversation with Gail's mom. She brought us the good news. Voice therapy worked, and Gail could talk now. That's amazing. Gail's mom said she's waiting for me at the park, so I went straight there. At the park, I saw Gail standing by a pond. Thank goodness you can talk again. I always knew you'd recover for your dream. My dream? It's turned to ashes. Then Gail told me that although she could talk again, her buttery smooth voice didn't return. Oh no, I was dead inside and tried my best to comfort her. I still believed she could overcome this and regain her voice, the same way she got over her stutter. Easy for you to say. Do you know what it's like to have a demon in your throat? I don't even recognize myself anymore. No, you can still...
How about you?
Can you get over your fear to achieve your dream? Come on now, do it! With each line, Gail put another step forward, pushing me closer to the edge, until there was only a few inches between me and the water.
Go on, it's for your dream. What are you afraid of?
Gail took one more step, and I fell into the pond. My trauma took over me. I panicked, thinking this was it. Then someone pulled me out. Robbie!
You're insane! She could have died!
Gail just ran away crying. Don't yell at her. I shouldn't have picked at her wound. Also, this should be a practice for when I become a marine biologist.
Seriously? Or are you just scaring yourself even more?
My family expects this much from me. If I gave up on my dream because of a tiny little accident from when I was 13, I only have myself to blame.
Dream this, dream that. Are you sure that's what you really want to do, and not just a 6-year-old girl's dream?
Robbie's words jolted me awake. It's true that I no longer enjoy studying as much as when I was learning with Pop Pop. Every ounce of effort I put out recently was solely for a far-fetched dream that I'm not even sure if I want anymore. I don't want to disappoint my parents, but I can't keep struggling like this for the rest of my life. But I've held on to this dream for so long and worked so hard for it. What do I do if I give up now?
You'll figure it out. Take your time. I used to play football and was sure that I'd become an NFL player. Then at one point I realized that's not my thing, so I quit. And after trying out many different things, I fell in love with track. Change isn't the end of the world.
I can't believe it took me this long to realize that it's too early for me to commit. Change is normal. But what if I never find my life's ultimate goal, and I'm just wasting time?
Jeez, chill, man. You're making someone like me, who couldn't care less about school, actually enjoy studying. You're living life and putting some good into the world. Ain't no time wasted. No need to be Martin Scorsese.
You mean marine biologist, right? But thank you. I needed that. I came home to see Gail crying to my very concerned parents. Mom jumped to embrace me when she saw that I was drenched.
Gail told me everything. Why didn't you tell us? We're so proud of you, and nothing would ever stop us.
So, Gail revealed my fear of water from that accident when I was 13, and how much I tried to overcome that fear for my childhood dream. It's so difficult for me to talk about it, mostly because I can't admit to myself that accident left a scar on me, so I'd suppressed my pain all this time. Telling both my parents about it now actually felt liberating. Luckily, they're very understanding and allowed me time to find my true calling. As for Gail, I'm sorry. I was so frustrated with myself that I put it all on you. It's not your fault. Turned out, when Gail ran off, she was hiding behind a bush nearby and overheard my conversation with Robbie. His surprisingly wise take moved her as well. Gail said she'd keep doing therapy for as long as it'd take. Yes, I believe in you. If voice therapy doesn't work out, becoming a heavy metal rock star doesn't sound too bad. Wow, really? I thought Robbie was talking for a second there. After that, it was business as usual, but there's less pressure on me. I actually made a new friend this year and got closer to my best friend. Gail's voice is improving, and she's also having fun exploring other avenues besides talk show host now. Summer came in the blink of an eye, and I decided to volunteer at a school for students with learning disabilities. I wanted to help other dyslexic people like me learn to the best of their ability, the same way Pop Pop helped me. It sounds like a good start for my own self-discovery journey. That could be my dream job. If it's not, I'll keep looking.
Hey everyone, I'm Ellie, and my genius inventions are set to make me the next Thomas Edison. If you want to see more of my one-of-a-kind inventions, please comment and don't forget to like and subscribe to Animated Story Show. My mom passed away when I was little, so since then, it's just been me, Dad, and my older sister Kara. Dad's an independent scientist. Growing up, he was always inventing something and let me help around. Naturally, I developed a passion for inventing from an early age. You're playing Frisbee and you're hungry, but you don't have a plate to eat your food. Has this ever happened to you? No. I present to you the Frisbee food plate. Okay, no Frisbee plate. How about these goggles that help you cut onions without tearing up? Or this cool food hat, perfect for all your TV snack needs. Okay, so maybe they weren't ready for my inventions back then, but at least Kara seemed to like them. Like this alarm clock that only goes off when the puzzle has been solved. She's a doctor, so it's important she gets up on time and keeps her mind alert. I want to do well too. It's my dream to be an inventor just like Dad. So I studied hard and managed to get a scholarship into the most prestigious private school in the state. While I was getting used to my new school, Dad was working hard to make sure I got everything I needed. Everyone loved his inventions, including the Bancrofts, one of the wealthiest families in town. They hired him to design a robot chef system, but due to a system error, it short-circuited and set their mansion on fire. Luckily, no one was hurt, but Dad's reputation was at stake. He had to pay for the damages, which meant we had to sell our home. Still, we didn't have enough money. Just then, a woman, Mrs. Harding, came to see Dad and told him that she'd settle everything on one condition. He had to live in the mansion and work exclusively for her. Dad didn't have much choice, so he agreed and asked for me to tag along too. As for Kara, she received a high-paying job offer to provide round-the-clock care for a coma patient, so she moved into the hospital. So Dad and I started our new venture, only mansion life didn't go so well. As soon as we stepped through the huge doors, Dad was bundled off into the basement to work. And me, I became Mrs. Harding's own personal servant. This was so not cool, so I decided to get sweet revenge. I tinkered with Mrs. Harding's high heels so I could control them with a remote. Only I was busted by Ariana, Mrs. Harding's daughter. What are you up to? I'm just... Oh, I see. Clever. Let me help you. What in the cinnamon toast? So, we watched Mrs. Harding put the heels on, wobbled about, and tumbled over. Mission completed. Nice one, Ellie. That's the funniest thing I've seen all year. So, what's up with you and Mrs. Harding? Mom's always so strict on me, but Dad is the opposite. Only he's traveling, so Mom's running the Milo Corporation for the time being, and now she's turned into even more of a tyrant. From then on, Ariana and I became friends and spent our free time pulling funny pranks on Mrs. Harding together. We rearranged her laptop keyboard, messed with her water flosser, and tampered with her bedroom light. I wanted to help Dad with the finances, so at school, I opened up a design-on-demand inventing service for some extra money. Queen, the school queen bee, noticed and made an order with me. High heels that convert to flats will make partying easier. Put me down for a pair in size 7 and make sure they're hot pink. I finished the order, then excitedly gave them to Queen. Only she fell on her butt. You did it on purpose, didn't you? Ugh, I'll make your life a misery. I made them based exactly on your order. Hey, you got what you ordered, so leave her alone. Turns out this is Owen, who's also here on a scholarship. Owen's a science guy too, so we clicked instantly. One night, I was serving dinner when I overheard Ariana ask her mom why her dad wasn't back home yet. Ariana, he has flown to India for a spiritual retreat. Huh? That doesn't sound like something Dad would do.
Yes, well, the spiritual retreat is helpful in running the company. He'll be back soon. Now eat your greens.
Ariana seemed very confused still. I knew her pain, as I missed my dad too. Feeling down, I went to see Kara to talk to her about it. But Kara appeared with 2 giant bodyguards. What's with the walking mountains? My patient is very important, so they're here to ensure information security. It's no big deal, sis. Just pretend they're not there. I felt bad that Kara had to work under such extremes for our family, so I was determined to sell more of my inventions. Everyone knows your inventions suck. Quit clogging up the hallway already. We could come up with better inventions. See, straight A's here. Those mean girls who were always ranking last in class now became top students?
Pfft, how you achieve those grades doesn't count. Yeah, they definitely didn't earn those A's themselves. And you, that desperate for money, huh?
Well, it's a long story. So I told him about my family's misfortune and how lucky I was to have Ariana as a friend, despite her being the daughter of the Myla Corporation owner.
She seems cool. Why don't we invite her to the arcade with us?
So the 3 of us went there, and Owen quickly acquainted himself with Ariana. It was good they were getting on, but hello, I was still here. When Ariana went to the restroom, I asked Owen, "So, you like her then?"
Why? You're not jealous, are you?
Jealous? No way. Then Owen suddenly turned serious and told me actually, he's been researching AI. Recently, there were some AI unethical products on the market. Some even took advantage of the face recognition feature to secretly withdraw money from millionaires' bank accounts or stock them.
You know, those girls bragged about getting straight A's? Well, they used a cheating device that I suspect came from the Myla Corporation.
No way! My dad works for Myla. He wouldn't be behind this. He couldn't.
I don't know, Ellie. All I know is companies that use science and tech irresponsibly are a big bugbear of mine, and I had no intention of flirting with Ariana. I only approached her to do some more digging, and maybe we could sneak into the basement to talk to your dad about it.
It's impossible. It's like Fort Knox. There's a security guard there 24/7. Owen assured me that between us, we'd figure out a way. I was pondering how best to sneak in to see Dad when Ariana pulled me into her room. Owen is cute, isn't he? Will you help matchmake us? Huh? That was quick. If Ariana knew Owen only hung around with her to find out about Myla Corporation, she'd be really hurt. But she was relentless, so in the end, I reluctantly agreed. I set up a date for them, but seeing them together sucked, so I decided to tag along. But anyway, the date turned out helpful. Not sure what sweet talk Owen had been saying to Ariana, but she agreed to help me and Owen sneak into the basement. The next day, Ariana helped distract the basement security guards. We sneaked in and found Dad on the floor, unconscious. I rushed to his side and urged Owen to help me carry him out. Mom's home! Help Owen leave first! When Mrs. Harding saw me helping Dad out, she went berserk.
How dare you remove him from the basement? He has work to do!
I found him passed out! You're overworking him! If you don't let me take him to hospital, I'm suing you for negligence. Mrs. Harding reluctantly gave in and ordered the guards to take us to the hospital. At the hospital, Mrs. Harding kicked me out of the room and insisted on seeing her private doctor. I couldn't believe my eyes when Kara walked in. When Kara finished, she stepped out and told Mrs. Harding, "Mr. Miller's awake. Leave him here and I will care for him alongside the other patient."
No! I pay you to focus your care solely on one patient. Miller will be taken elsewhere to rest.
So it's Mrs. Harding who hired my sister to care for this mysterious coma patient. I ran to talk to Kara, but Mrs. Harding pulled her away. Fine, I would just have to investigate what she was up to myself. The next day I was by my locker when Owen appeared, so I filled him in on what had happened at the hospital.
I took these from the basement. Look, this one has the template for the cheating device Queen and our friends use.
So Mrs. Harding hired my dad to make these unethical inventions for illegal profit. I just didn't think he'd ever do something like this.
The design's just a portable device that could go through metal detectors. Your dad's a righteous scientist. Mrs. Harding must have pressured him into making this. We'll find proof to prove this.
That's right. I have to get my dad out of this.
Don't worry. I'm always here for you. We're in this together.
Oh, I see. So you two are framing my mom?
Ariana, you don't know what's going on.
Oh, I don't? Then tell me, is this why you approached me? No, let me explain, Ari. And you let him use me? Am I a joke to you two?
Then she stormed off. What I feared the most had come true. Ariana was furious with us both and ignored us since then. Then, a few days later, a huge news report broke. Science no match for monk life? Mila CEO Harry Harding moves into monastery and leaves a $1 million corporation to his wife, Dazia Harding. I and Owen were so shocked to hear the news. Just then, Ariana came to tell us Mrs. Harding had been acting odd, so she eavesdropped on our call and heard her mention Mr. Harding, then looked very nervous and shady. Ariana knew something was up, so she paid a private investigator to delve in deeper, and turns out her dad never went to India. And now that he's back, he refused to see me and was all surrounded by bodyguards. That's it. We gotta get to the bottom of it. So the next day, Ariana went inside her mom's room. Mom, you've been so distant lately. Can we spend some time together? Just you and me? While the coast was clear, I sneaked into her office and rummaged around. Using my lockpick, I opened her drawer. Inside was a treatment plan with Mr. Harding's name on it. I went to the hospital with Owen and spoke to Kara about the treatment plan. There was nothing unusual going on. Ellie, go home. Feeling defeated, we left, but then we bumped into a doctor. What is this regimen? It's designed to make the patient's condition worse. We were shocked, but before I could ask him any more about it, I saw Kara get into a luxury car and leave. We jumped into a cab and followed her. The car pulled into this heavily guarded mansion. We knew we couldn't get inside by the front, so we sneaked behind the mansion, climbed over the wall, and shuffled along the side of the building. The door was locked, so Owen kept watch while I used my lockpick to enter. We crept across the kitchen, but I accidentally knocked some pan over and made a thump. Who's that? Owen immediately pulled me behind the fridge to hide as the guard shone a flashlight around. Gosh, this tight space made us way too close to each other. I could hear our hearts beating in sync. The guard finally gave up, and we left the room. Suddenly, I spotted Kara turning in the hallway. Follow Kara. I'll stay here and play lookout. As Kara stepped into a room, I saw Mr. Harding lying there. Kara, what's going on? Kara looked surprised seeing me and pulled me to the hall. Ellie, you shouldn't be here. Is that Mr. Harding lying in the room? That's right. Mr. Harding has been in a coma due to an accident during his trip. I was hired by his wife to take care of him. But when he started to recover, Mrs. Harding asked me to put him in a coma for good. I pretended to do as she said, but secretly, I've been helping him. Then who was the man showing up as Ariana's dad before? What on earth do you think you're doing here? Mansion! Go into lockdown! Voice verification not recognized. Surprised, huh? We've reset the system. Now it only responds to me. Seemed like Mrs. Harding had installed an AI system to control the mansion. Luckily, Owen managed to reset it. How could you? Look what else I found in your mansion. You trapped Mr. Miller here and forced him to build a robot to impersonate Ariana's dad without telling him the truth. Dad's also here? And the man showing up as Ariana's dad before was the robot he had created. Restrain them at once. Well, I guess it's time to use my flycatcher. I shot Mrs. Harding and the bodyguards in the eyes. Security! Get them! Right then, someone showed up on the yard. I'll distract them with the robot. Those dumb guards mistook the robot for the real Mr. Harding and ran after it. Let's get out of here. Mansion! Locked down! The 5 of us ran out of there, while Mrs. Harding and those guards were immediately locked inside. As everyone was back at the mansion, Ariana insisted on me taking her to see her mom. Why, Mom? Why did you do this to Dad? I sacrificed everything for your father, my assets and my youth. Mila is what it is today because of me. Yet to him, I was nothing more than a housewife. After his accident, I saw a means to take back what was rightly mine. If only he ever once listened to me. Poor Ariana, she doesn't deserve any of this. Our family was finally reunited, and Ariana let us stay in her home until we found somewhere else to live. As for Mr. Harding, thanks to Kara's efforts, he regained consciousness and is on his way to making a full recovery. Kara's a great doctor, and I think Dad is a soft spot for her. I'm cool if they, get together. Yeah, I think so too. By the way, I'm sorry about Owen and you. I already forgot about that. You and him are made for each other. I'm out. Oh, there he is. Go get him, girl. Owen showed up with some flowers, looking all dressed up. Hi, Owen. Why are you here? You texted me, asking me to pick you up for a date?
I didn't. Ariana!
Well, too bad. I'm here already. So, will you go out with me?
Yes! And with that, he pulled me in for the sweetest kiss ever. It was the last lap and I was in the final stretch. There was only one car ahead of me and I could see the finish line coming close, so I pushed on the acceleration as far as it could go. Suddenly, I heard a weird noise coming from the engine and lost control at once. The car started spinning like crazy and off the track onto the grass. Hi, I'm Natalie, and it's me behind that wheel. You may be wondering how I got myself into that situation, so let's begin from the start. I was born into a racing family, so the passion for sports naturally ran in my veins. But my life somehow resembled Maggie Payton in the movie Herbie, as my dad didn't allow me to race. Instead, he put all his faith in my adopted brother Jeremy, and by pouring everything he knew into teaching him, with a hope that he'd become a great racer. Only the explanation to this wasn't as complex as in the movie. My mom passed away when I was a newborn, but no vehicle accident was involved. It's just my dad was of the opinion that
Ladies should be gentle and sweet.
So he forbade me from participating in racing or anything even remotely dangerous. Despite that, growing up with Jeremy by my side was truly a blessing. Although not related by blood, we were very close. Jeremy often let me take the wheel of his race car without Dad knowing, and he even taught me all he had learned from Dad. Over time, I was able to catch up to him in terms of racing prowess. Today, he had a big race, and as usual, I went to his room to check on him. But he was still in bed. His face was pale and obviously he was in pain. Jeremy, what's wrong?
I think I got food poisoning from that gas station hot dog.
Gosh, just drop it. You can't drive in this condition.
I can't. This is the qualifying round for the championship season. Dad will be so disappointed in me.
So, there's only one way. Hey, I can drive in your place.
Are you crazy, Natty? Blah!
Jesus, see? There's no time. Under the racing gear, nobody can tell us apart. He was reluctant for a while, but finally gave in. So here I am, in a super cool appearance. I felt a wave of exhilaration that sent me sprinting to the track. Passing other racers with deft accuracy, I left trails of smoke in my wake as I smoothly swerved into the tight turns. When I reached the final lap, I gave it my all and finished in first place. Yippee! I got back to the waiting area after the race, then was suddenly dragged away.
Hey, Jeremy's here. I'm all right now. Just want to make sure you made it out okay. Congrats on first place.
Thank you. Now switch clothes with me. They need to see your face on the podium. As Jeremy raised up the trophy, I couldn't help but imagine myself in his place, overcome with happiness. That evening, the race was replayed on TV.
Jeremy, your style is different today. You finally understood how to drive more freely. I've always said you have potential, yet you don't have the guts to shatter limitations. But if you keep racing like that, we may need to get you another trophy shelf. Yes, I'll try.
You were really cool today. Keep up the good work. After that race, I still felt the electric rush lingering in my bones. So I asked Jeremy to let me keep taking his place.
Enough, Natty. Last time I did it as a last resort.
You don't really want to be a racer anyway. Let me help you. In the meantime, you can focus on your passion. Seeing him hesitate, I continued. If you're afraid of being caught, just be there at all times so we can swap back whenever we need to. Jeremy's Jeremy. Couldn't say no to my puppy eyes. After that, I wore Jeremy's racing suit and entered all of his competitions. During that time, Jeremy would covertly hide among the crowd and wait. Oh, did I mention that my brother is a huge crochet fanatic? He even runs an Etsy business stocked with incredible pieces he made all by himself. Things were going kind of smoothly, but public practice was out of the question because we had to keep this a secret from Dad. So Jeremy's plan was for me to pretend to be dating the team mechanic, Royce, also his best friend. This would give me an excuse to go to the track on a regular basis to practice. The following day, Jeremy took me to meet Royce, and luckily he was so friendly and agreed to assist us right away. Although balancing school and racing was hard, I still nailed it beautifully. At school, nobody knew I came from a racing family as we never appeared together in public. Not to brag, but a lot of guys were smitten with me. However, this dude, Liam, stood out. He's actually Jeremy's biggest racing rival, so I couldn't help but laugh internally as he made many attempts at wooing me in school.
If you were a vegetable, you'd be a cucumber.
Just to turn green with envy at me on the racetrack, as he had no idea it was me under this costume. It made sense, given he hadn't lost to Jeremy this many times before.
Yeah! Hey, Jeremy, what's your deal? Your racing style has changed so drastically.
Just then, a staff member from our team turns to me.
Yeah, and you've been really quiet lately. I'm just focusing on the competition.
And so this began my official rivalry between Liam and I. We were racing neck and neck, but all of a sudden my engine died and stopped in the middle of the track. I watched as a few cars zoomed past me and Liam took the win. My win. Seeing that dude get out of his car and reveal his smug face had my blood boiling. The next week, I was in another race to make up for last week's fiasco, but this time I had a flat tire. Were the racing gods against me beating Liam? Due to my recent losing streak, some of my sponsors threatened to have their sponsorship withdrawn if I don't win the next race. So this time, I got Royce to triple check that the car was ready to race.
I scrutinized every nook and cranny, same as the last few races. If something goes wrong again, then my guess is that you have a petty guy willing to sabotage you.
My next race was going well, but on the last lap, as I reached a tight turn, I pressed on the brake and my car was not slowing down. Time seemed to slow as the wall rushed closer. My palms clenched the steering wheel. It was a dance of split-second decisions and instinct, but I managed to swerve, the tire screeching in protest as I narrowly avoided disaster. Close shave. I looked over to the finish line and saw that Liam had once again secured first place. He was definitely behind this. So I quickly got changed and barged into Liam's waiting room to confront him.
Oh, my angel! What are you doing in this fiery battlefield?
It's you who played tricks on my brother, right? Spit it out!
Your brother? Who?
Jeremy Wilson? You sabotaged someone else's car too, or what?
What are you talking about?
Drop the act. You're the one who benefits the most if my brother loses. Recently, his car kept breaking down. This can't be a coincidence.
It just seems like luck is on my side. See, the girl I like also happens to come from a famous racing family. We're a match made in heaven.
How can you be so casual about this? Don't you know how dangerous it is to drive with broken brakes? If not for my driving skills, I would have been injured.
Wait, your driving skills? Were you the one driving the car?
I mean, my brother.
Oh my god, it's you! I knew something's off lately.
Watch your tongue. I didn't say anything. Focus on the actual conversation. You either confess to the crime, or I will investigate and expose your true face to the whole world. Mark my words. I couldn't believe I just let my secret slip to my biggest rival. If Jeremy knew this, he'd definitely tell me to quit racing. So after a sleepless night, I decided to meet Liam for a proper talk, but he found me first.
Are you Google? 'Cause you have everything I'm searching for.
Stop messing around. I'm not done with you yet. The you broke my car case?
I had no idea about it, I swear. I'm competitive, but not that low. But isn't it normal for a car to suddenly break down sometimes?
Put that aside. Anyway, have you told anyone about my identity yet?
No, but what's up with that?
I want you to keep your mouth shut. So let's make a deal. What do you want? Except for a date like in some sappy rom-coms, of course.
Then nothing. Just don't avoid me anymore. And tell me why you have to disguise as your brother.
That's none of your business.
All right, then I'll ask someone else.
Fine. Just promise you won't tell anyone. Then I told Liam everything. And since that day, he had officially become my shadow, no matter at school or on the track.
I need to complain to Spotify for not naming you this week's hottest single. Oh wow, they really look cute together. Even though they're competitors, love always wins.
And that's how we accidentally became a gay couple in the racing scene. At first, I found Liam very annoying, but soon I realized his great passion for racing matched my own, and his insights into the racing world were unexpectedly captivating. I found myself opening up to Liam, sharing my thoughts and feelings with ease, and somehow felt happy around him. But the mystery around my broken car hadn't unfolded, so I couldn't let my guard down. And here comes the last qualifying match before the championships. My dad was also here today to motivate everyone. I was so nervous, yet still had to act lovey-dovey with Royce in front of Dad. Obviously, Liam wasn't happy about that. He kept coming in between us, even though he knew we were just pretending. Natalie, focus! I couldn't stand to keep my secret any longer, so I gotta carry the day to prove myself, then reveal the truth to him and race under my own identity. I turned on the engine's full power and felt its huge force as I raced. My helmet fought the wind, and the air surge was like a thrilling symphony. It was the last lap, and I was in the final stretch. There was only one car ahead of me, Liam's car, and I could see the finish line coming close. So I pushed on the acceleration as far as it could go. As I raced past him, I was both precise and fast. My heart pounded in my chest, and I could feel an adrenaline rush through my body.
Suddenly, a strange sound came from my car, and I lost control at once. The car started spinning like crazy and off the track onto the grass. I was dizzy, but lucky enough, not a scratch. As I came to, the first person I saw was Liam. He dropped everything just to check that I was okay. He took me to my pit stop, where my teammates rushed over to support. Suddenly, my dad appeared. I was panicking and I didn't know where to go or hide when...
Natalie, no need to hide anymore. I already know.
How?
That doesn't matter. Look at you. What a mess.
I just wanted to prove to you that I can do it. This is my passion. Why do you always stop me?
Your passion? You mean falling off the track?
You just ignored all the times I'd won first place. You're a terrible, selfish, evil father who has no love for your children and always forces others to do this, do that. People don't respect you because they want to. Everyone only listens to you because they're afraid of you, just like me and Jeremy. Just then, Dad slapped me hard across the cheek. I stumbled back and fell onto Liam. It was you, wasn't it?
I'm sorry. I just couldn't watch you get yourself in danger anymore.
Meeting you is my entire life's greatest regret. Before anyone could see me cry, I ran away. I have nothing left. No one understands me. No one. I lay there in my room, consumed by a cloud of gloom after Dad's week-long grounding. Suddenly, a pebble knocked at my window. It was Liam. He was trying to throw a rope up to me. After a moment of hesitation, I finally climbed down.
I'm sorry I went behind your back. I didn't know your dad would go that far. I care about you and just want you to be safe. But now I realize the way to do that is to find the true culprit who vandalized your car.
Liam's apology felt really sincere. Look at him. I couldn't stay mad forever.
The last time you raced, you never left your car's side. The pre-checks are where we need to look into. Are you sure you can fully trust this Royce guy?
He's my brother's best friend. Why would he sabotage me? You're just being subjective. Suddenly, a memory resurfaced in me. Last week, I saw Royce lingering around the car for longer than the usual inspection. He told me that I need a new head gasket or else I wouldn't be able to accelerate without blowing the engine. Now, when I think of it, it seems kind of fishy. So we rushed to Royce's shop immediately.
Natalie, what are you doing here? I'm sorry to hear things have been rough between you and your dad.
But you're not sorry for almost taking my life?
What are you talking about?
Cut the act. I've got all the evidence against you.
What evidence?
Shut up. I have CCTV footage of your criminal acts. If I give it to the racing committee, you'll be out for good. What do you think? My hands were trembling as I hoped that Royce couldn't see through my bluff. But shockingly, Royce's face went pale and he crumbled to the ground.
All right, Natalie, it's me. But I didn't mean to hurt you. I just want to help Jeremy.
How does that help Jeremy?
Actually, I have a crush on him, and Jeremy confided in me once.
I don't know what to do. I love Natalie very much, but I always feel self-conscious in front of her. I'm just an adopted child. Becoming a racer is all that my dad wishes for me. If I stop racing, he won't love me anymore. Meanwhile, Natalie's far better than me from the beginning. If Dad finds out I'm such a loser, he will disown me.
Jeremy, my poor brother.
I just wanted to scare you into not racing. Everything I did to your car was carefully deliberated beforehand so that you wouldn't get hurt. I'm sorry. I'll find a way to fix everything.
I got home later that night, only to hear arguing from the living room.
What you did to Natalie was unfair. You kept her from doing what she loves, just like me. I've never dared to admit this, but now, Dad, racing isn't my passion. This is. What? But you find it too girly, right? Actually, I just race to please you, and only this simple thing makes me happy.
Unable to stand by, I interjected, revealing how Jeremy was living in so much fear among his own family. They were shocked for a moment. Then Dad said,
Jeremy, it's all my fault to put so much pressure on you and make you feel like you weren't loved enough. You're always my son, no matter if you choose racing or not. And Natalie, I'm sorry for hitting you. The pain on your cheek may have gone, but still lingers in my hand. I just didn't want to risk losing you. I never told you this, but when your mother was pregnant with you, she got sick, and I could have lost both of you when she went into labor. Ever since that day, I swore to keep you safe, alive, and healthy.
Dad, I love you, but I love racing too. I hope that I can count on your support on the track. Then I revealed that Royce was the one who sabotaged my car.
They were both shocked and furious, especially Jeremy. But after being told the full story, they decided to forgive Royce as he showed his remorse by confessing his crime and was temporarily suspended. We had not seen him since then. True compassion lies not only in caring for someone, but also in caring for them in the right way. Misguided intentions can unintentionally sow the seeds of unintended consequences. Finally, I could officially join the race using my own name. Dad came to see me today as well. He seemed quite concerned, but encouraged me anyway. Suddenly, Liam approached me.
If I win this time, fair and square, would you go on a date with me?
You have no chance to win, but a date? You earned it.